Rachel Carson once stated, "The more clearly we can focus our attention on the wonders and realities of the universe about us, the less taste we shall have for destruction." With an appreciation for nature like no other, Rachel Carson was the first to realize that humans need to be more cautious in the ways they interact with their environment. I have been interested in her works and will be supplementing this knowledge with credible sources using the Bucks County Community College databases. Rachel Carson forced people to question their beliefs and look at the possible future consequences and also the very prominent present consequences of a pesticide that many believed only had positive outcomes. She did not want to be the spokesperson for this controversial topic, but as a lover of nature, Carson felt obligated to share her knowledge. This is an inspiration to me personally because I love the outdoors and being able to appreciate nature in its raw form. Rachel Carson influenced myself and others to take precaution with our actions and look at the possible negative effects of them on the world around us. Rachel Carson used her extensive knowledge of the natural world to become the founder of the environmental movement, and although it caused much controversy at the time, she opened the eyes of many Americans as to what needs to be done to preserve the earth and everything on it. I will begin by introducing Rachel Carson's early works and their impact. Rachel Louise Carson was born in 1907 in Springdale, Pennsylvania, and always knew she wanted to be a writer and had a fascination with wildlife. Throughout her career, she was successfully brought together these two passions. With a degree in zoology, she became an aquatic biologist, as well as continuing her research with writing for magazines about her findings. Carson's first novel, Under the Sea Wind, went fairly unnoticed. She did not, however, take this as a loss. Despite its lack of attention, this was actually Carson's favorite of her novels. 10 years later, she published her second novel, which was very successful. The Sea Around Us sold 200,000 copies in its first year and won her the John Burroughs Medal and the National Book Award. Rachel Carson states in The Sea Around Us, "It is a curious situation that the sea, from which life first aroused, should now be threatened by the activities of one form of that life. But the sea, though changed in a sinister way, will continue to exist. The threat is rather to life itself." With her extensive knowledge and fascination with the sea, she created a poetic novel that passes this fascination on to her readers in a way that also sparks interest and inspires them to extend their own knowledge. Subsequent to the explanation just given on Rachel Carson's early works and her inevitable talent to capture the essence of the natural world, in particular the sea, and portray that in her writing, I will now inform you about the importance of Rachel Carson's Silent Springs and the hardships that came along with publishing such a controversial novel. Rachel Carson did the hard but right thing by expressing her concern with the pesticide DDT and its possible long-term effects with her controversial novel Silent Springs. In the 1950s and 60s, DDT was used for everything. This powerful pesticide seemed to be the answer to all problems, from crop failure to head lice. Scientists believed that this would be the cure to insect-borne illnesses and possibly even world hunger. No one thought to look at the possible negative consequences. Rachel Carson could not stay quiet and address her concerns toward this powerful pesticide, directly targeting the authority of government science. Her book had strong evidence that a lot of birds and fish were dying due to exposure of high amounts of DDT. With further research, she realized that the effects were worse than she had thought. Carson's only goal with publishing was to inform the public. She did not want fame or fortune in any way. She knew Silent Springs was going to start a lot of controversy, and people were not going to like it. But after attempting to ban her book and call her uneducated, they went as far as to attack her personally by trying to put her down as a woman. Rachel Carson was already at a low point in her life, battling misdiagnosed breast cancer, but she continued to speak up about what she believed in. Carson passed away just 2 years after the publication of this contentious but crucial book, and her impact is still present today. Rachel Carson is an inspiration to environmentalists everywhere and was an inspiration for the environmental movement of the 1960s. A PBS documentary from January 17, 2017, written by Michelle Ferrari, states, "Rachel Carson not only changed the kinds of questions we ask about the environment. I think she caused us to start to ask those questions. She's the instigator." Without the works of Rachel Carson, who knows what the state of the world we live in would be at. She was the first person to put the idea into people's heads that we need to be more cautious in the ways that we interact with the environment. Earth conservation and efforts to preserve nature have drastically increased since the environmental movement established by Rachel Carson. Eventually, DDT and 11 other powerful chemicals that were mentioned in Silent Springs were banned. Rachel Carson not only inspired people to have a deeper appreciation for the environment, but also to stand up for what they believe in. In conclusion, I discussed 3 significant aspects of Rachel Carson and how these aspects can inspire anyone to stand up for what they believe in and change the way that we interact with our environment in a positive way. In Rachel Carson's early work, she demonstrated an appreciation for nature in such a poetic way that really opened people's eyes to the beauty around them. In her controversial novel, Silent Springs, she spoke out against the pesticide DDT and its destructive side effects and received a lot of expected negativity towards it. In the end, however, she became an inspiration to many, contributing to the ban of deadly pesticides and starting the environmental movement of the 1960s. With an increase in population and technology comes an increase in disposables and the accumulation of garbage. Wildlife conservation needs to be drastically improved to keep the earth natural. Don't let the works of Rachel Carson be for nothing, and appreciate nature as the way she did by taking care of it. As the wise woman herself once said, man is a part of nature, and his war against nature is inevitably a war against himself.
Very good.